Let me quickly talk to you about the top 5 no documentation startup business loans with instant approval and large amounts. Here we have a maximum loan amount of $2 million. Don't go anywhere. You're going to love today's conversation. I guarantee it. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Studio QA Show. How are you today? Hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous. If you are to ask me if you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to talk to you about the top 5 no-doc startup business loans with instant approval and large amounts. We are speaking about a maximum loan amount of $2 million. So here, there are two things I want to first elucidate. First, I want to clarify these two things. First, we have the word startup. So startup here includes brand new businesses, so less than 6 months old, as well as very young companies, less than 18 months old. Okay, that's the first concept I want to elucidate. The second part is no doc startup business loan means what? It means that the lender relies on a constellation of paperwork, documents. They have nothing to do with the convoluted process you usually get from a bank. Okay, so they may rely on your accounting software, they may rely on your business plan, they may rely on forecasted sales, but it's usually very minimal. Okay, they just pay attention to your bank transaction, your bank statements, or your sales, and that's it. They're not asking for your business licenses and permits. They're not asking for your EIN confirmation letter. They're not asking for your tax returns. Usually, they only ask for 1 or 2 pieces of documentation. And if you want to qualify for a no-doc startup business loan, you have to create a business plan. You need to prove your experience. You need to show that you have liquidity. In other words, that you have a pretty solid business plan and balance sheet in terms of the cash is very important. And no-doc startup business loans with instant approval and large amounts are generally part of what we call asset-based lending agreements. So here are the types of asset-based financing programs that we have. You have accounts receivable, inventory, invoices, commercial real estate, investment real estate, personal real estate, land, equipment and machinery, bank accounts, credit card processing accounts. What I'm trying to say here is that those loans, the no-doc startup business loans, are usually collateralized loans, okay? And the rates oscillate from 8 to 25%. The terms 6 months to 3 years. The funding time, it takes from 3 to 21 days. If you're lucky, you might get a lender who will give you the cash within 24 hours. And in terms of repayments, you have daily, weekly, and monthly. And appraisals might be needed in some cases. In terms of the documents required to get a no-doc startup business loan, you will have first the credit application, so the loan application form, your bank statements. In some cases, they might ask for a link up to your accounting software, whether it is Expensify, Wave, Xero, or QuickBooks. Some lenders might want to see your business tax returns. As I said earlier, it's usually 1 or 2 pieces of documentation. And the whole idea is for the lender to figure out the liquidity situation of your business. It's all about liquidity. It's all about the moolah. It's all about the cash. Okay? And in some cases, they might ask for a list of collateral. Not because you want to place the collateral, they just want to evaluate the collateral. They want to appraise the collateral. Now, let's talk about the pros and cons of a no-doc startup business loans before getting into the actual rankings. So you have high approval rates, easy access to funding, good credit is not required because, again, those loans are generally collateralized. So the risk is mitigated from the lender's perspective, the default risk, that is. And if you have a fluctuating cash flow, that's okay. And this is really something that's really good for a startup or a very young company, right? Because when you start, your cash flow is playing yo-yo. Usually it will play yo-yo for a while until you stabilize it. So it's kind of cool to actually get into a lending agreement when your cash flow is fluctuating. And in some cases, lenders will invest, they will fund up to 90%, in some cases 95% loan to value. What about the cons? higher rates than traditional financing, and they may have strict covenants and use of funds. Collateral may require monitoring, and there are higher fees than most business loans. Something you need to know. And before we get into the actual rankings, please check out this short loan evaluation approach video. We do have a strict methodology on this show when it comes to evaluating, categorizing, and listing loans, including no-doc startup business loans on this show. Check this out. All right, number 5, folks, we have Sutton Funding. Our score, 8/10. So when you think about Sutton Funding, this is the perfect player when it comes to no-doc startup business loans with instant approval and large amounts. And so basically here, the loan amount maximum is $5 million. This is pretty good. And they have flexibility on loan amounts. They have a repayment period from 6 months to 10 years or longer. The minimum time in business, they want you to have 12 months, but they will accept no businesses. You have spoken to them. They will accept you even if you've been in business for less than 6 months, as long as you have a strong business plan, okay? And the business loan types cover everything from accounts receivable, business lines of credit, business term loans, no-doc business loans, commercial real estate finance, all the way to equipment financing, hard money, merchant cash advance, merchant credit card processing, and SBA loans. And the cool thing about Sutton Funding is that there are no-doc startup business loans. You can use the money for nearly anything. So they're not putting strictures, they're not putting restrictions around the money, okay? You can use the money for business working capital, expansion, purchasing inventory or equipment, project financing, marketing, debt consolidation, and payroll. You name it. This is your money. This is once they approve the loan, the money becomes yours, right? So, and the cool thing here is that Sutton Funding has a team of financial experts who can help you with all the bevy of things you need to do to make sure you get the money first, and then you are able to repay it back. Okay, and in terms of let's talk a little bit about some of their loans. Okay, so as I said before, some of their popular loans in terms of no-doc startup business loans include equipment financing, business lines of credit, and accounts receivable funding. And the cool thing here is they cover a lot of industries, and the application process is very simple. You will need the following if you want to fill out the form. You can actually apply online or over the phone or via email. You'll need your driver's license, voided business checks, bank statements. In some cases, they might ask for your balance sheet and or P&L, profit and loss statements. So this is something that you need to know. And we also need to understand that with Sutton Funding, they actually make sure that they assign to you a representative. So once your application starts and after you get approved, you'll have someone to talk to. If you have any question, the expert will also help you in terms of structuring your repayment program, your repayment patterns, and making sure that you are strong in terms of liquidity. Number 4, folks, we have Sunwise Capital. Our score, 8.5/10. We have covered Sunwise Capital on this show before, and this is a great player too. And with Sunwise, you are actually you can get loans from $10,000 all the way to $2 million. And to be eligible for a Sunwise Capital online business loan, you need to be in business for at least 1 year. But in some cases, they will go as low as 6 months if you are able to show strong liquidity patterns. Those are their terms. Strong liquidity patterns. In other words, you have a lot of ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching in the bank. And into your yearly revenue, they want $150,000 minimum, and that's gross income, gross revenue, not gross income, gross revenue. And your credit score, 500 FICO minimum. Okay, so with this lender, you have a no cost, no obligation, 24-hour approvals, next day funding. And what we love with this lender is that Sunwise is they're so confident about their no-doc startup business loan. They will give you they have a $500 guarantee that you'll get your approval within 24 hours with next day funding. Think about that. And you can use the money for a lot of things, for growth, expansion, or renovation. You can improve cash flow. You can use it for working capital, new technology or equipment, insurance and tax payments, additional staffing for payroll, inventory, advertising, you name it. Okay, and we love the fact that this is another lender similar to Sutton Funding that accompanies startups. So they're not just giving you the no doc startup business loan and just leaves you at your own. No, they will be with you. They will help you. They will work with you. Okay, and we love the fact that they actually have a constellation of other loans besides the no doc startup business loan. So even if you're not a startup, or even if you don't like some of their loans, they do have other loans, other lending arrangements that might be suitable for your startup or very young companies. Okay, and one thing we have seen also is that according to Sunwise Capital themselves, and we've seen this with after speaking to several borrowers of theirs in the last few years, this is a company that actually that has a high, I would say, re-borrowing rate, if I can call it that way. In other words, their customers keep coming back. So the customers keep borrowing over and over and over. After repaying the first loan, they just apply for a second loan. It demonstrates that the company has stellar customer service. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. I'm still having a conversation with you today about the top 5 no documentation startup business loans with instant approval and large amounts, maximum $2 million. Even though we've seen that Sutton Funding, they will go all the way to $10 million, but $2 million is kind of average here. With number 3, we have Fora Financial. Our score 9/10. With this lender, you can get a quick and safe no-doc small business loan for your startup or established business. And Fora Financial can provide no-doc loans up to $500,000 in as little as 72 hours from approval. Okay, you can qualify in minutes. The application will not affect your credit. That's pretty good. There's no application. There's no personal guarantee required. And in terms of the requirements, they want you to be in business for at least 6 months, to have at least $12,000 in gross sales. If you are a startup, as long as you have a strong business plan, they might look into your application and qualify you. You need to use projected data in your business plan. If you are new and haven't had a whole year of operation, you can still use forward-looking data, okay? But if you have open bankruptcies, you can't qualify for a financial no-doc startup business loan. They will not approve you. So you got to make sure that you are clear of any open bankruptcies. I didn't say past bankruptcies, I said open bankruptcies. Okay, and what we love with Fora Financial is that you actually you can use your loan however you like. They are not restricting you. You can actually fill inventory orders, you can buy new stuff, you can expand, you can buy equipment, you can hire additional staff. It's up to you. And based on our analysis, Fora Financial no-doc business loans for startups have been very, very popular for a couple of things. Based on our survey of past borrowers and even current borrowers, they've been using Fora Financial's no-doc startup business loans for everything from marketing to payroll to expansion to paying bills to cash flow management. Okay, so if you have a little gap in your cash flows and you want to fill that gap, you can actually borrow from Fora Financial. This is really good. You can use the cash for renovations. You can even use the cash for taxes. Yes, because guess what? It can be challenging to pay taxes while keeping your business up and running, right? Luckily, if you have a loan, you'll be able to pay your taxes without taking away funds from your day-to-day operations. So this is really good. Number 2, folks, we have here Toro. Our score 9.5/10. Now, Toro is a great player also when it comes to no-doc startup business loans with instant approval and large amounts. With Toro, you don't go all the way to $2 million. The loans are capped at 575,000 as of now. So they have actually two programs. So they have fixed term funding limits are $575,000, and they have open-ended funding, which is capped at $125,000. And you can actually apply for either funding scheme with a startup, and you can actually structure the application to be a no doc. So basically what they have here is that their funding programs at Toro do not really require a lot of asset verification. No, they don't require any business appraisal, and they require very little to no paperwork. Okay, this means in some cases that you apply, get an approval, sign, and move on to bigger and better things. Okay, and the thing here is that they can finance every operational stage your business happens to be in. So besides startups, they also finance established businesses. So if you are a startup, let's talk about startup specifically. They can actually finance your many facets of your business. They can help with the development of the business idea. So everything from business development cost, research and development R&D. They can help you make critical purchases. They can help fund activities as critical as licensing, patents, and trademarks. So if you're filing patents and trademarks with the United States PTO, you might get the cash from Toro to take care of that. They also provide the cash flow that any typical startup needs. So capital to help your new business get up, running, and successful. In terms of technology investments, staffing and office space, advertising and marketing, and so on and so forth. They also help you in terms of if you want to buy a business. Let's say you're a startup and you have identified a smaller player in the same industry and you want to buy them off quickly so you can actually gain competitive edge. You can get the cash from Toro to take care of that. So you can pay for it. You can actually have the cash for down payments or acquisition. You can have the money from Toro for a franchise investment or a partnership buying capital. Okay. At the end of the day, this is the perfect no doc startup business loan that you can get approved for quickly. Number one, folks, when we are speaking about the top no doc startup business loan with instant approval and large amounts, Zing is the best player in our view. So we have scored Zing 10 over 10. With Zing, you have a constellation of benefits coupled with a strong, no documentation required startup business loan. So they call it term loan financing. So you can apply online for the term loan, and you can get the term that you have here ranges from 6 months to 5 years. Okay, loan amounts oscillates from $10,000 all the way to $1 million. Okay, this is really good. We love that. And in addition, they offer payment options that are daily, weekly, or monthly, whatever works best for you. And this is really cool because if you are a startup and you are having cash flow problems, at least you get the cash. Now it's up to you in your accounting department to manage that cash. If you are paying, for example, on a weekly basis, you don't want the whole payment frequency to disrupt your liquidity structure. Okay, and here are the requirements. The time in business, 6 months minimum. Your personal credit must be above 500. So if you have 501, you qualify. Your monthly revenue must be above $10,000. You need to have a legit business to run. I really insist on this. A lot of folks, I'm not saying that you can have a sole proprietorship. Everybody who has been listening to this show knows that we prefer that entrepreneurs incorporate, that they have a real legit company so they can divorce their personal affairs from their business affairs. So we recommend that folks who are currently sole proprietorships move on a little further by having a legit company, by having an LLC, an LP, an LP, an S Corp, C Corp. So at the end of the year, they don't file Schedule C on their 1040. They're filing a real 1065 or 1120S or 1120C. Okay, so that's the bottom line here. And you also want to have an EIN. You want to have a bank account, a business bank account. This will increase your chances of getting the loan that you need from Zing. They want to have a business plan. Okay, at the end of the day, this is a no doc business no doc startup business loan. So they only need from you a link up to your accounting software or a link up to your bank account, your business bank account, or your last 3 monthly business bank statements. Okay, the statements of your business bank account. That's all it is. So, and this is really great. And with Zing, you get fast loan closings, and you have a team of financing specialists. So if you have any question, you can call them for more information. They are available at 470-531-1715. 470-531-1715. All right, folks, this is it for today's conversation. I was talking to you about the top 5 no-doc startup business loans with instant approval and large amounts. And number 1, we have Zing, 10 over 10. Number 2, we have Toro, 9.5 over 10. Number 3, we have Fora Financial, 9 over 10. Number 4, we have Sunwise Capital, 8.5 over 10. And number 5, last but not the least, we have Sutton Funding. Our score, 8 over 10. Thank you so much for your attention, folks. I really appreciate it. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.